Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Miller coming to you for the DeKalb County Library System. And I saw some pictures of some vintage Alhambra clover necklaces from Van Cleef and Arpels. I mean, really expensive and encrusted with diamonds, et cetera, et cetera. And they were clover shaped motifs. They weren't green, but I figured St. Patty's Day is coming up and why not do something with clovers? And also found an old video by Denise Matthews showing how to make these really neat crystal clover shaped links. And so I thought, well, why not put the two together and we'll make our own clover motif necklace. They won't be worth $16,500 or encrusted in diamonds, but they will be handmade by us and one of a kind. So I thought that that's what we would do. And I want to apologize ahead of time. You probably can't hear it, but there's a lot of beeping going on outside of my, not far from my door, because they're repaving the road. It's so lovely living off of a main thoroughfare, but I'm going to have nicely paved roads when it's all over. So I will deal with the traffic blockage and the noise. And I hope you can't hear it. But anyway, let's get to our lovely necklace that we're going to make. So what we're going to need are our usual tools. We were going to use round nose pliers. Get up here. Round nose pliers, called so because the little arms are round. They're tapered to the tip, so they get a little bit smaller as you go towards the tip of the plier. And that's going to be important in what we're doing today. And I'll show you that's going to be important to know in what we're doing today. And I'll show you why. We're also using square pliers, and they are slightly rounded on the outside. Sometimes that throws people that don't know anything about jewelry making pliers. They're slightly rounded on the outside, but on the inside they're flat, and that's how you can really tell the difference between the two. The third is cutters, and they do just that. They clip your wire or cut your wire. We'll also need a ruler for measuring and chain for your necklace. I'm using some that have 3 by 4 millimeter links. We'll need some jump rings, and we need 24 gauge wire. Not a lot. As you can see, I'm going to finish off what's on this little spool, and that's all we need, except for the beads, of course. Now, Denise Matthews, when she did her, she used bicones, 4 millimeter bicones. I'm using 6 millimeter. I can't show you up here. I'll show you when we get down to the mat. I'm using 6 millimeter rondelles because I wanted something a little bigger. We're making a necklace. She was making a little bracelet, I think. So that's all we need. Let's get down to the mat and get going. I want to see how this turns out. Okay, so what we're going to need is 2.5-inch pieces of 24 gauge wire. And so what I've got here is my 24.5, my 2.5 inches of wire. And what I'm going to do is take my wire and I'm going to just bend it into a little U shape. Just like so. And then I'm going to take one of my beads. Let's get down here close. I'm going to take one of my 6 millimeter rondelles and I'm going to slide that on. And then I'm going to pinch the sides of the wire together on either side of my bead. Just nice and close. And I want my wires to be nice and straight on each side. Yeah. And if I need to, I'll just take my pliers, make sure those wires are nice and straight. I don't want them crossed over. I want them on either side of the bead, like so. And do the same with the next one. So I just want one on each to start. Slide that bead on. And hold that nice and close to my bead. I know my hands are in the way, so you can't really see what I'm doing. Not quite even, but that's okay, because what I'm going to do now is put the other two beads on. I need 4 for each cluster. So I'm going to put 2 more beads on, one on each side on each wire. So 1 on each wire. So now I have 3 on this one and 1 on this one. And what I'm going to do is take this the wires with the 1 on it, and I'm going to feed 1 wire. Oh, one of the important things that you need, whatever kind of bead you decide to use, the holes need to be big enough for 2 pieces of 24 gauge wire to fit through. And 24 gauge wire is quite small, so I don't really have to worry too much about that. That'll go through, but if you use a bigger wire, which you really don't need to, but can, if you decide to use the bigger wire, you want to make sure that the wires will fit, two of the wires will fit through 1 hole in your bead. So I'm going to take the one with 1 bead on it, and I'm going to feed 1 wire through each of the beads on the 2 sides of my wire. So 1 wire goes through 1 bead, and the other side of the wire goes through the other bead. And then you just push them down. I don't want it to go through the bead that's on the bottom, just the beads that are on the side. And I just push the wire down until I can grab those 2 tails. The 2 tails on this side and the 2 tails on this side, and then I just pull them together. And that's what makes my little cluster. Neat, huh? And it's kind of clover shaped, kind of 4-leaf clover-ish. And I want to make sure that these are nice and close together. So I'm pushing up on this last bead here and holding on to the little tails. And then I'm going to take the tail out at the opposite side, and I'm going to bend it over the bead that's on the side. And the same with the other one, bend it over the bead that's on that side straight out. Then I'm going to go to the other side, making sure that everything's still nice and tight. And I'm going to bend that wire out alongside of the first wire, and the same on the other side. So now this is what I have. So now I'm going to make a loop on each end. So I just like to squeeze this at the top so that it looks like that. Nice and close. I'm going to bring this down closer to the mat. I think it's easier to see that way. So I just bent this at the top here. And then I'm going to fold it over to the side. And I'm going to make a loop. So I'm going to grab my round nose pliers. And I'm going to slide the wire about 1/3 of the way down my pliers. It doesn't have to be too big a loop. Make sure that my wires are side by side and not crossed over. So I want one in the front and one in the back. Okay. Wire is about a third of the way down my pliers. And I'm going to bring the tail of the wire over the top of my pliers and down beside the bead. A little clearer. Come on. The camera is finding the us. I mean, it's kind of an old camera, so I guess I should not complain. So then what I'm going to do, I said I was going to tell you the importance of knowing that these arms on your round nose pliers get gradually smaller is because I'm trying to do a loop with two wires at the same time, meaning the wire that's closest to the tip is going to be a little bit smaller than the one that's closest to the hilt. So what I want to do is when I get halfway around my loop, take my pliers out without my wire shifting, turn it around to the other side so that I can slide that in and adjust it so that the wires are the same size. The loops will be the same size. So I've turned that around. Focus. It doesn't want to. Okay, I think that's a little better. Now I'm going to bring that wire under the pliers and off to the side. Then I'm going to take my pliers out again. I'm going to turn my beads around and bring that wire across and under the pliers to close up my loop. So I'm going to bring it across one time. Then I'm going to take the pliers out again, turn them around, slide them back in, and bring the wire the rest of the way around. Like so. And I only need one full wrap in order to enclose my loop. If you want to make it more wraps, you can, if you don't want to cut off your wire or waste wire. And then while I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and make some adjustments so that my loops are sitting side by side as close as I can get them. Neaten that up a little bit. And now I'm going to cut the tail of the wire off. I don't need that sticking out like that, ready to snag on something. So I'm going to cut the tail of my wire. If I can hold on to it, I'll hold it so that the wire won't fly anywhere. If I can't, then I'm going to grab a spool and turn it down into my spool so that when I clip that little tail, it goes down in the spool and doesn't go flying across the rim. I'm going to cut that a little closer because I like my little tip to end up in the middle of right halfway point of my loop instead of off on the side, because I find it harder to keep those little tips, push those little tips down if they're off on the side. And I want to make sure there's nothing there to snag my clothes or scratch my skin. So I'm going to cut that a little closer. Okay. And then I'm going to push those little tips down. As close as I can get to the other loops. Here we go. No snagging. Let me flip over to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pinch my wires together right here at the top of the bead. Then I'm going to bend it over to the side. Grab my round nose pliers. slide my wire about 1/3 of the way down my pliers. Bring both wires over the top of my pliers, further down, and down the side. And then I'm going to hold on to my beads and wire, take my pliers out, and turn it around to the other side so I can make sure that this wire that was here, closer to the hilt and smaller, is the same size as the other wire. I'm going to bring those wires under my pliers like so until I have a loop. Then I'm going to take my pliers out again. This is my method, and take them back in so that I have space now to bring that wire under my pliers and over my beads to make my loop. Okay, so now it's nicely closed in. Switch it around again and bring the wire the rest of the way around for a full wrap. Just like that. I'm going to clip off those ends. Nice and close. And push down those little tails. I think I can make it a little closer. Just a little more. And if it's easier for you to clip these one at a time, that's fine too. I just try to get it done as expediently and quickly as possible. Okay, and I push those little ends down. No snaggage. Check my little loops, make sure they're nicely side by side. And there we have it. Here we have it. This one could be a little closer together. There we go. And there's my first little clover. Let's do another one. Let's do this one. And I'm doing them all different colors. This one, I'm just doing them all different colors. I don't think they have to be green, as long as they're clover shaped. I'm copying, not copying, but I'm using the Van Cleef Arpels motifs as inspiration. All they did was use the shape. They did not make them all green. In fact, very few of theirs were green. Okay, made my little U shape, squeeze it on the sides of my crystal, nice and close. And it's gonna cross over at first, and you just have to straighten them out. One wire on each side. It's the same wire, but you just have two sides of your wire, one on each side of the bead. And again. And I make my U shape ahead of time. You really don't have to. You can go ahead and put your bead on and then shape it if you like, whatever works best for you. But I just find that it's nice to have this already shaped a little bit. I think it makes it easier for me to maneuver. Okay, squeeze my wire. And this is 24 gauge wire, so it's easily manipulative and malleable, so it's easy to squeeze. So there's my little two sides. Straighten those wires out. It makes it easier later. Place my other two beads on, one on each side. Oops. Okay, one on one side of the wire, one on the other side of the bead, I guess I should say. There we go. Grab my single bead, and I'm going to slide each tail of wire one down each side. Now I like it when I end up with one wire that's slightly longer than the other, because I think it's easier to feed it through one at a time than try and feed them at the same time. But this time they actually came out the same length, so I will put them through at the same time. And there is my wire on each side. I want to make sure I don't feed any wire through the one on the bottom, just the ones on the side, until I can get down here and grab the tails of each of my wires and pull them together to form my little clover. Yay. Once I've done that, I'll hold on, just pull nice and tight, and then hold on to the two wires on one side. I push against this one on the bottom so that nothing will shift. And then I just bend one wire off to one side and the other off to the other side. And I flip it around and do the same thing on the other side. One wire on one side, other wire on the other side, and this is what I have. Fold over the two wires on one over one bead, bend it off to the side, grab my round nose pliers, make sure the wires are side by side, not crossed over. Grab my round nose pliers, slide my wire about a third of the way down my pliers, bring that wire over the top of my bead, or over the top of my pliers and down the side. Before I go any further, I'm going to hold on to my beads and my wire, take my pliers out and flip them over to the other side, because again, I want to make sure that this one that was over here, a little closer to the tip, is the same size, or as close to the same size as I can get, as the one that was on the larger part of my arm. And then I'm going to bring that wire under the pliers to form my loop. So there's my loop. Yay. Then I'm going to go ahead and put my pliers back in and bring the tail of my wire under my pliers and over my beads to wrap my loop. And I want to make sure that this is going to try to move if I don't hold it. So I'm going to turn this around so I can complete my wrap. I always try to anchor my beads, just hold my beads so they don't shift while I'm bringing my wire around. And I only need one wrap. It looks like it's a little scarf, doesn't it? I only need one little wrap around the beads. But if you want to make more wraps, if you have enough to make more wraps around your bead, then go right ahead. Entirely up to you. So then I kind of lift it away from my wrap so that I can get in here nice and close and clip my wire. And again, if you want to clip it one wire at a time, feel free to do so. Okay. Rid of that little tail. It would have been easier if I put it down in my little spool, but I didn't do it. I think I'm going to make that a little shorter. Did I get them both? Did I get them both? I think I got one and not the other. That's why I said if you want to clip them one at a time, go ahead and do that. All right. Push that little end, that little tip down, nice and snug. Be a little tighter. There we go. Adjust my loops a little bit so that they're nice and neat. No ends to poke me. Bend the other one over the top. Bend it off to the side. Grab my round nose pliers. Slide my wire a third of the way down my pliers. Make sure they're side by side and not crossed over. Bring my wire over the top of my pliers and down the side to make a half loop. Take my pliers out, turn them around. Make sure that other loop is about the same size as the larger one. Bring my wire around and under my pliers. Take my pliers out, flip them around again, and bring my wire around to complete my wrap. Oops, one more time. Now I've completed my wrap. Okay. Put that off, lift it away. And I think I crossed my little wires over, so I need to fix that so that now they're side by side again. Grab my pliers and clip off that tail. Go. With that. Push down my little tips. Nice. Straighten my loops. Nice and neat and tidy. And there is my little motif. Yay. Nice. Now I'm going to show you how to put them all together. So what I need is chain. And I wanted to make a necklace that I didn't need to have a clasp. I wanted to be able to just put it over my head. So I want it to be at least, for me, that needs to be at least 26 inches. 24, 26 inches will go over my head without a clasp. But I wanted to make it nice and long. So mine's going to be more like 28, 30 inches, something like that. So I'm using 12 of these motifs. They come out to be almost an inch in length. Let's see here. Once I finish, they come out to be about an inch in length. I'm using 12 of those. So that is about 12 inches. And then I'm going to use 1.25 inches of wire for each link. And that's going to be another 12, 13, 14, 15, 15 inches, 16.5 inches, I think it is. So that's 15, 28. So it's going to be about 28 inches. I think it's a little longer than that, actually, because I need 13 of these and whatever 13 times 1.25 is going to be. Oh, my math is terrible. So 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wait a minute. Yeah, 12, 13. I'm doing 13 of them. 14, 15, 16, and a quarter, 16, 26, 27, 28, and a quarter, 29. So it's going to be about 29 inches, maybe a little longer. Plenty to go over my head. Now this is where my jump rings and my chain comes in. I have 1.25 inches each piece of chain because that's how long I want my necklace to be. So let's go ahead and open up some jump rings. The proper way, there's several ways you can open jump rings. You can grab your jump ring with your pliers on one side of the opening, right there. And I can push down with my thumb to open it. Nice, clean opening. Or I can hold my jump ring on one side of the opening with a pair of pliers, grab a second pair of pliers, Put that on the other side of the opening and twist. Nice, clean open. Now, what you don't want to do, I see people take their pliers, they go inside the jump ring, and they open the pliers and pull the ends apart from each other. Well, that just ruins your loop. And it's hard to push them back together, and you end up with it more of a U shape than a nice circle. So you don't want to do that. The third way that you can open them is to just use your fingers and twist them open. But I'm using 6mm jump rings, and they're kind of small. So I'm going to use one of the other two methods. If you're using larger jump rings, your fingers will suffice because you can hold them easily on each side. Okay, now that I have open jump rings, I'm going to grab one of my links. I'm going to slide it on my jump ring. I'm going to grab one of my beads. I'm going to slide one side of it on my jump ring, and I'm going to close my jump ring. And all I need to do is twist it closed. I twisted it open, I twist it closed, nice, neat, and tidy. I've already started my loop, my chain, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to my chain. So I'm going to open up my little jump ring. Open that up. Slide in the loop from my bead, close my jump ring. Here we go. And I'm going to continue. Put on another bead. Jump ring's already open. Slide it on my chain, the last link of my chain. Slide it in the loop of my bead and close it. Just twist it closed. You might want to check and make sure that the ends are nice and flush. Very good. And let's go ahead and put on this other one. Again, I'm going to slide it inside. Oh, my little loop still seems to be a little lopsided. So let's just straighten it out. That's better. Yeah. All right. Grab my jump ring. Slide it inside the ring of my bead. Grab a chain. Slide that inside my jump ring. Just put it in the last bead of my chain, the last link of my chain, and close that up. I lost it. Come on. Come on, come on. There we go. Close it. And let's grab another jump ring. Thought I had enough jump rings. I didn't. Okay. Grab another jump ring, open it up. Slide that last link of chain in my jump ring. Slide on the loop to my bead and close. And last but not least, the last link. Open that up. Slide that on. Last link of my chain. I could have done some of this off camera so you didn't have to watch me do this 5 times, but the more I do it, I think the easier it is for you to follow. Close that up. Get those ends nice and flush. Go. Finishings are important. If it takes you a minute to make sure that these rings are perfectly closed, then do it. I've had several incidents where people say they've been out and somebody says, "Oh, I love your bracelet," and they go to show it to them and hold their arm out, and the bracelet just poof, falls off. Why? Because they didn't have their jump rings closed. All right, this is the last jump ring. Slide it on my chain. And because we don't need a clasp, well, that last one is just fighting me. Slide it in the loop, probably because I've got my pliers in the way. There we go. Last link of chain here. All right. Turn it around where I can see it. Trying to turn it around so the camera can see it and I can't see it. And then I'm trying to guess where it is. That's not working. There we go. And this is the other end of my necklace. Last bead, last jump ring, close it up. You have to make sure everything's nice, neat and tidy and closed properly. There we go. And there it is, ladies and gents. Got my little 12 motifs. Let's back this up a little bit so that you can see the whole thing. And there's my necklace. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let me put it on a form so that you can see what it looks like. 1 second. There it is. There's our necklace. I can't get the whole thing in the camera. Back up a little bit. There we go. That's a little bit better. But anyway, there it is. I mean, it really is beautiful. I love it. I wish I could get a better shot of it. But there it is. Don't those, they really do look like 4-leaf clovers. I love it. Oh, there it is. There's our necklace. Again, ours won't be worth 16,000. I think I saw one of them that was worth $56,000 encrusted in diamonds. Ours is crystals. Ours is one of a kind. We have all different color motifs. I think St. Patty's Day is represented in our little clover motifs. I really like this, and it's long. It's long enough so that I could just pop it over my head without a clasp. And that's one of the things I really, really enjoy. It'll go with everything. And if you want to, you can put a little something down here on the bottom. If you wanted to wear it with a pendant, you could do that. I don't see why not. I think I'm going to take this off and put it over my head because I just want to. Let's see if I can do it. I'm missing half of this because it's so long that I couldn't show the whole thing. Let's see if I can get it on and show you what it looks like on me. This is probably not the best outfit for it. Let's see. Oh, yes. Nice. Very nice. And get a better view. Ah, there it is. Very nice. Oh, I'm going to wear this today. Yay. I like it. Anyway, that is, I'm still using this hand camera and it's really a challenge. That's our program for today. That is our piece for today, our little clover motif necklace. Pop it over your head, no clasp required. It goes with anything, any color you want to make it. I love this. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm so sorry my face isn't up there, but there's only so much my camera will hold. And I want you to see the piece. I hope you like the video. I hope that you like the instruction, and I hope everything comes out just fine. Those of you who get kits will get enough beads to make your own necklace and the chain and everything that goes with it. And I hope you'll come back. Give me some feedback. Let me know how you liked it. jewelrygen20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRY GIN20@gmail.com. You can drop us a comment on the Facebook, the library Facebook page, which is facebook.com/decab library. That's facebook.com/DEKALDLIBRARY. Or you can come to the YouTube page, the Decab Library YouTube page, and drop us a comment there and let us know how everything went. Anyway, one way or the other, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, your weekend, and you'll come back and see me later. Bye bye.